Okay, take a look at this headline. It says, quote, young conservative women build an alternative to the manosphere. The author explains, quote, that this ecosystem of young conservative female voices fills space for a generation of women who are at least curious about some traditionally conservative views, but are always interested in entering the digital man cave that is overwhelmingly male right-wing podcast space. Whew. Emily Sturge, campus reform reporter, joins me now. Emily, that's a great headline and observation, but the growth of young conservative women, it's real, I'm assuming, and what do you put that down to?
There is such a remarkable shift among Generation Z with both young men and young women, and it makes sense when you look at the cultural message that the left is giving us. The left tells young men that they are toxically masculine, and then the left tells young women that they don't know what a woman is. They're changing definitions. They're erasing what it means to be a woman. We can't say mother anymore. We have to say inseminated person. They're taking away our private spaces of bathrooms, locker rooms, and sports teams, and we're reporting that at the Leadership Institute's campus reform. So it makes sense when this is the cultural message the left is giving young people are shifting to the right. But
I thought on campus today, it's like if you are conservative, you kind of have to keep that to yourself because it can get some very, extreme responses from the other side.
The tides are turning, and I'm very proud to say that. It seems like, back in 2016, if you wore a red hat, you would be canceled. But today, if you wear a MAGA hat on campus, well, you will get fist bumps in the hallway.
Really?
And I'm very happy to say that we are seeing a revival in conservatism among Generation Z. That's because they're happy to have a man back in the Oval Office who is revitalizing that American dream. We are looking at the economy. That's what many of us were thinking about when we headed to the polls in November. We feel inspired as we're thinking about starting families, buying homes, starting careers, investing in the stock market, and we have a great man in office to help us do so.
You're very convincing, you know that, Emily. You're very well spoken. I want to get to this one. A new report shows that the Department of Education under Joe Biden spent more than $100 million on grants for universities to teach about critical race theory, diversity, equity, inclusion, you name it. Here's where some of that money went, just for your viewing pleasure. Georgia State University got $8 million for its Master of Social Work program, which required a class on diversity and social justice. University of Alaska Anchorage got $1.2 million for programs that require DEI courses, and Indiana University, not to be left out, received a grant worth $5.7 million to teach anti-oppression, heterosexism, and white privilege in social work. I'm out of breath. What's your reaction to all of that?
When money talks, it speaks loudly. And bigger than this, let's take a step back. Biden's Department of Education spent over $1 billion on DEI grants. Now, that includes $100 million to grant K through 12 DEI social workers. What a headache in itself. So while 70% of 8th graders are not proficient in math and reading, Biden's Department of Education was more worried about teaching kindergartners how to be anti-racist, teaching 4th graders about pronouns, teaching 8th graders about sexual orientation. Clearly, massive reform is needed, and I'm excited to see what the Trump administration brings to the table.
Well, I'm assuming that you can't blame the president for wanting to disband this organization, given where the money goes and the impact it has.
Yes, I'm very excited to see what the Trump administration has in store. I mean, we'll see what happens with the executive order today, but even before that, we've already seen the Trump administration massively downsize the Department of Education with federal worker buyouts and slashing half of the employees at the department, and it was very positive changes.
Yeah, the failing Department of Education, we should point out. Emily Sturge, great stuff, Emily. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you so
very
much for having me.
All right.